All right, so this is my third time recording, so obviously somebody needs to hear this. I have tried and it keeps failing, so I went ahead and recorded a different way. So I want to share with you that not everything that you have seen or experienced or believe is of face value. Not everything that you have seen, not everything that you have experienced, not everything that you have believed is of face value. Jesus says, be it unto you according to your belief. And so let's dive in for a little bit. So I want to give you an example of not everything that you see is of face value. Let's just say if you were a child and you experience abandonment from your mother or from your father. And based out of the abandonment or feeling that you may have had from your mother or from your father, you may have said, based out of that, I am abandoned. And because of that feeling of abandonment that you had and you agreed to it, you therefore, in your human body, build these walls and these defense mechanisms to show up in a society, to show up in life. You carry around the story and this agreement and these experience that you may have had, and you gave it a name. You gave it you took it as face value. And here's a shift of the paradigm, because not everything that you have experienced is of face value. I'm not negating your experience. By all means, because I've experienced the feeling of abandonment. Not everything that you have seen, not everything that or who you have experienced it with is of face value. It is oftentimes the many things that we have experienced in our lives, or the many things that has been deposited in our lives, or and we as children, we believe that it is of face value, and so we carry it. And we walk around with this story, this label that says that I am abandoned. So therefore, if I am abandoned, I must not be enough. Therefore, if I am abandoned, I must look for validation. Therefore, if I am abandoned, then I must exit people out, or I can't trust anybody. Or whatever your agreement that you might have had based out of the experience or experiences that you had in and you have agreed to in your mind. This is why the mind is powerful, but God is giving you the power to renew it. God is giving you the power. You have the power to pause and adhere to the truth. We know the truth. Jesus says, for ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. I believe it was Jesus, but I just know it's in the Bible. So it's in the Bible verse. But that's getting beside the point. It's in scripture. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And a lot of us are carrying and walking around with these labels, with this identity, with validating the experiences and saying that this is who I am because of what I have experienced. And I want to share with you that one more time, not everything that you have seen is of face value. How do we know the truth, and how do I shift and make the decision? I know the truth from experience by walking with God as God began revealing to me the truth that is inside of me. So it resonates in your spirit. God begins speaking the truth and begins to radiate in your spirit, and your spirit becomes alive. Your spirit starts to resonate with what God is saying, and it's by faith that you walk in the spirit. It is by faith that you walk in the spirit, and as you walk in the spirit, you are in constant commune with God. As you walk in the spirit, you are in constant truth with how God sees you. So it is believing what God is saying. It is by faith walking out what God is saying, and I am in alignment with my spirit based out of what God is saying. So even in my flesh, if I see something that might trigger that agreement that said that I was abandoned, that said that I was enough, that made those agreements, I can pause my mind I can sit and pause. If I feel the anger, if I feel the feeling of fear, if I feel worry, or if I feel angry, or if I feel I have to be defensive, or if I feel like I have to be controlling of what the future might hold because I'm afraid, if I'm trying to think of scenarios and trying to figure out how I'm going to navigate this thing and how I'm going to control the future based out of what I have experienced in my past, based out of fear. So all of those different components, if you see something or if something triggers you, all those different components in your mind creates things in your mind that overshadows the truth. And it's okay, because you have power over that. And how we shift out of that, once again, is pausing and being in commune and listening to the voice of God. And by faith, I walk out the truth of what God is saying. By faith, how am I going to walk out the truth of what God is saying? How am I going to allow this feeling, whatever is triggering me, allowing it to pass? The key word is allow. Don't rush it. Don't force it. Don't judge yourself. Allow it to pass. And as you are allowing it to pass, it has no threat to who you truly and divinely are. It has no truth, no real threat to who you divinely are, unless you are allowing that to lead you. So it takes a level of knowing the sovereignty that God is giving you, knowing the sovereignty that you have, and making the choice to follow the voice of God by faith. By faith.